When it comes to Endwalker, a lot of people have asked me what changes I'd personally like to see, and I figured, heck, why not start this out with the Bard, which is one of my absolute favorite DPS to play, but undeniably does have a few sore spots. To be very super clear, I certainly do not have any new Endwalker official information. I have not seen the information, I have not been contacted for the September media thing or whatever, and this is literally just what I personally want to see. I just don't want people to feel misled or claim that I'm trying to mislead people, so I'm trying to say that as clearly as I can. For this video, I'm going to go off of the assumption here that the Bard isn't going to have a complete overhaul of its kit. Let's pray not bow Mage ever again. In fact, if that happened with a major rework, I'd probably be really sad because I think that it's a playstyle that is very unique among all jobs in 14. It is heavily based upon procs, making it very fast paced. There's lots of keep track of, and things are popping in here and there, and it has more of a priority system where muscle memory doesn't really reign as king. It all comes together as the Bard being overall really enjoyable for a lot of people like me. With 16 other valid options, I'd like to keep that, and my sincere hope is that this isn't lost in Endwalker. With that being said, let's get into the changes based off of that assumption. Change number one is with Mage's Ballad, but more specifically with Bloodletter Procs. So background for those who don't play Bard is that the Bard plays one of 3 songs and should have 100% uptime on some song is playing at all times. One song is called Mage's Ballad. The next piece of background that is essential here is that the Bard maintains 2 damage over time effects that when they tick, which is once every 3 seconds for dots or hots, they have a 40% chance to trigger what is called a repertoire. This is a very different effect based upon which song is playing in the background, and remember those should be going one of those 3 at all times. Now back to Mage's Ballad. When repertoire triggers from dot damage, we have a refresh of the 2 abilities Bloodletter and Reign of Death, which share the exact same cooldown and are just AoE or single target variant. So for simplicity's sake, going forward in this video, I'm just going to call it Bloodletter, the single target version. I'm going to be blunt, when Mage's Ballad is active, the Bard gets absolutely swamped with Bloodletter procs, which is incredibly overwhelming to newer Bard players because you have the cooldown ticking, you have these repertoire Bloodletter procs coming in, and you also have Empyrean Arrow, which is on a short 15-second cooldown that gives you yet another Bloodletter proc with Mage's Ballad playing. This leads to the problem where sometimes you do seriously miss procs, which is 115 potency just whiffed that you could have had that you just lost, and that is a lot of potency because it is fully weavable off the global cooldown damage, which is very valuable in this game. Sure, 1 or 2 won't mean much, but over the course of a fight, that 150 becomes 300, becomes 600, becomes 100, 1,200. You see what I mean? Like, over a course of an 8-minute fight, this adds up. This leads to some people arguing, and arguing very well, I will say, that triple weaving is actually better here than letting you lose any of those procs, because even though it clearly clips the next global cooldown, and for anyone new, I actually have a video on this channel that I did a little while ago that I'm going to pin in the description comments to explain global cooldowns, what weaving is, and all that. So check that out if you want more information. But for our purposes in this video, I'm just gonna too long didn't watch it, as you can only comfortably weave in 2 off global cooldown abilities between 2 global cooldowns. So clipping ahoy if RNG goes wild, which pushes your GCD, and that's not a good thing. Now let's talk about resolving it. In my mind, what I'd like to see here is simply when the Mage's Ballad is active, and only when Mage's Ballad is active, that the Bard can store up to 3 charges of Bloodletter so that we have a little bit more leniency on how to deal with procs. If you still lose procs with 3 extra charges, I'm sorry, that's on you. Change number 2 is to Shadowbite, and I do not like this skill at all, and I love our devs so much, but this skill is based on the idea that we can amplify its damage to targets in an AoE depending on how many damage over time effects that we have applied to them in the AoE, which we only have one method to apply either of the dots, which is a single target method. And so when we're talking about Shadowbite, it becomes very, very unwieldy at the best of times, even the best of times. Basically, you just weave it in for the tiny extra shred of 100 extra potency without even worrying about amplifying it. This gets into a whole mathematical argument that basically goes down to, even if you did apply all the dots manually to all mobs in the pack, maintain them with Iron Jaws and all that, you are ultimately, because the mobs don't live for an infinite amount of time, losing tons of potency, because in a 10 pack of mobs that's going to die in roughly 20 seconds or so, a single target attack shouldn't be able to outdo quick knock spam in that short shred of time. You're still going to be applying dots to like the 5th mob. So honestly, for changing this ability, I just go with, instead of it relying on damage over time effects already being applied to multiple targets, the Shadowbite instead spreads the damage over time effects on one single target to all the targets around it at reduced potency. That sounds familiar to all Summoner players probably. Think of something like the Summoner's Bane ability, and this can likewise be tuned by reducing the potency of the spread dots or the cooldown timer. Change number 3 is to Battle Voice, and this is going to be short and sweet. Battle Voice is a powerful raid buff for whatever reason, though. It doesn't impact the Bard, even though the Bard's the one casting it. This really kind of sucks because we also see like other buffs go off during a raid, and yeah, they apply to like the person casting it as well. Why is Battle Voice the exception? Imagine Dragoon's Battle Litany not being applied to them. That'd feel really bad. I really wonder, any Dragoon players here, how good would it feel to you if your Battle Litany didn't apply to you? I'm curious, let me know in the comments. To me, as someone who has played quite a bit of Dragoon, I think that'd feel bad, but maybe I'm in the minority here. In terms of changes to Battle Voice, I just make it impact the Bard. Even pulling up FF logs and looking at the tables, you're not suddenly going to be pulling off a Black Mage's DPS. Change number 4 is to Warden's Paean, and this is a buff that is actually freaking cool to me. I really do like the design of the skill, and it is unique in 14 because you can essentially pre-cast an Asuna on a target, which will cleanse the next effect that they're affected by for a period of time. And so if we're talking about like coolness factor and mechanical neatness, this is a really cool mechanic. It's totally unique, but I cannot think of a single situation where I have actually been feeling like I have been pressured to use it, or let alone could use it effectively. Like I can think of Shiva Savage E8S, where you could have a frost debuff, or 2 party members would have a frost debuff placed on them, and that debuff had to be cleansed off of them or it would kill them. But the problem is that it was also random targets, and so every single healer that I've been on with Bard has been trained to cleanse those debuffs at that time themselves, and so me on Bard is just redundant and I can't even pre-plan around that. But another thing is the healers also aren't really used to Bard because Dancer and Machinist are definitely more prevalent than Bard in my experience. They're just like, okay, now Bard's in here, I mean, are we really gonna expect them to assume it? I'd rather them focus on DPS. That's kind of how it goes. Like fundamentally, even if they were all on board, at the heart of the moment, you really can't even pre-cast it because you don't know who it's going to be on. So it's kind of like that. It's a cool effect, but there's no way to use it. Like if you said to me, player X will get a debuff during a Savage raid and we need that cleansed, I could easily cast it ahead of time and that'd be amazing utility, amazing. That would take off the pressure off of the healers in a coordinated group. But that's not something we've seen, resulting in this skill mostly being a dead one. In terms of changes for this skill, I'd like to see something like a single target damage mitigation spell so that I could do something during tank busters. Think like old Palisade, which I still very much do miss. Change number 5 is Nature's Minne, and so this boosts the healing a target gets by 20%, which is undeniably significant. Good luck telling anyone that's not significant. But this is in a similar spot in my mind to Warden's Paean, but this is one that I actually get practical use out of, so I'm not too unhappy for it. So basically when a tank is taking a truckload of damage and the healer's needing to do some heavy healing, you can lift that up. You can help that healer out. Whether it's dungeons or raids or tank busters, the co-healer dies, for instance, and so all the stress is on that one healer to not let the tanks die as they're continually getting whacked. It can be useful. But I feel like without Palisade, which would reduce damage, that it's a lot weaker than it could be. Like I'm trying to imagine a world where we could like combine Nature's Minne with old Palisade, and then you've basically cocooned your tank to brace for damage, and then he'd be healed back up. It's a 1-2 punch that would be super powerful. Ultimately though, I don't have the biggest problem with this skill, but I do also wish that it was more impactful and noticeable by the party, because a lot of the time when I've asked people, they don't even notice I've cast it. The change number 6 is a little bit of a more systems change, which I'm just going to call it notifications. And I need to be very careful here and state it off the get-go. I am specifically talking about job actions and job rotation notifications, not battle mechanics. We're not talking about DBM, Deadly Boss mods, or whatever from World of Warcraft. We were talking job rotation notifications. And so just making that super clear. With the Bard, you have so many procs and things going on here and there to keep track of that. I really wish that we had a notification system that was auditory. As someone who is more auditory than visual, and yeah, I get that's probably pretty funny, but I am. I really loved the World of Warcraft add-ons that could give you alert noises for certain class actions being ready or warn you ahead of time. Like, hey, this is coming off in like 5 seconds, or this Mistweaver skill, you just got a new charge of it so you can throw it out there, or you have like 3 charges of like the Chi crane thing. It was really good experience for me. Like, I could go into this UI add-on and configure all of this to myself, and it was so amazing. I could set alerts like, oh, this ability came off cooldown. Loved it. And I would love this in 14 as like menu options, actually. Like, shit, I would actually love this as menu options across all my jobs, not just Bard. It would actually be really badass, probably especially on the Bard. And so the first auditory notifications that I'd want would be like a 10, 5, 3, and 1 second alert for the Bard's songs expiring. The next auditory notification would be for when the damage over time effects are about to fall off, so maintaining them isn't hard. Like, I want to say, maintaining them isn't hard. You use Iron Jaws to refresh, easy. But holy shit, is it bad when you get distracted and forget to refresh, and you're like, there my dots went. Which, yes, that happens to me a bit. Now, change number 7 is the MP bar, and oh, you have been probably expecting that this one was going to come up. To close out this video, one of my biggest pain points of all. We used to have this MP bar actually do something on the Bard. It used to always be used for something until recently where it's just hanging around. And I want some mechanic of some nature tied to this, whether it is restoring party members' MP. Oh my gosh, please give me this. Please, please, please let me restore MP again, please. But it's like the old Mage's Ballad, where we could restore MP to party members. Or whether it's amplifying the damage a target takes, like Foe's Requiem in the past. I want something here. Give me anything here. Or in an ideal world, give me both the option to choose MP restoration or damage amp and force me to make that hard decision. I love having to make those kinds of decisions on the fly. MP should just get expended and tick. I don't care if it's fast ticks, just give me something. And since the Bard can't stack piety, they can't recover it quickly and do anything janky or unexpected, so it becomes a valued resource that accumulates slowly over the course of a fight. Make me manage my MP again on Bard, please. Anyhow, that does it for this video on the changes that I personally want to see on the Bard going forward, and so let me know in the comments though what you think, or alternatively what changes you would want to make, because I know that I don't have like all the ideas. Anyhow, have a great day everyone.